The UK Independence Party says that recent by-election results amount to a sea change in British politics. UKIP, not the Lib Dems, are, they claim, the third force and could go on to be the biggest party in the 2014 European elections, possibly reshaping the right wing of British politics.
In Rotherham, UKIP secured 21.79% of the vote, its highest showing in a Westminster by-election. Elsewhere, in the two other by-elections of Middlesbrough and Croydon, it came in second and third respectively. As things stand, UKIP is already scrambling the signal of British politics. Over this year, UKIP has started to overtake the Lib Dems as Britain's third party. What do you vote for?
UKIP.
Why?
Because of what's gone off regarding the Labour Council, old-time Labour vote, a bit disillusioned with him at the present time. He's through Dennis McShane with these scam he pulled on everybody, and also with what I heard about the foster carers.
That one-time Labour loyalist confirmed UKIP is not just a problem for the Conservative Party. A larger proportion of UKIP voters in 2010 would go Tory, but there are Labour-inclined voters in there too. And if you drill into UKIP's numbers, there's something else going on. We've stumbled across the appositely named new Labour MP for Rotherham, Sarah Champion. She'll probably keep the seat at the next election. This place is a Labour stronghold, but as we've seen this morning, she and her party will have a lot to do on immigration.
I think a lot of people have decided to vote for somebody else rather than Labour this time, definitely.
And you were a Labour voter?
I were a Labour, yeah.
So was that a difficult decision to make?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I've voted for somebody else this time, definitely, yeah.
I didn't vote UKIP. I stuck to being a Labour voter. But I think the people, the voters of Rotherham, have actually sent a message out in the result that came through.
The two parties in government are spinning last night's result as midterm blues more blue than usual in the chill weather of November. But all minds in government are turned to next Wednesday's big economic statement of intent, in the knowledge that at root, the prospect of a triple-dip recession caused last night's triple boost for UKIP.
Lugger Stratton. Well, with me are Fraser Nelson, the editor of The Spectator, Steve Richards of The Independent. First, let's hear from a founder member of UKIP, Gerard Batten, who is now an MEP for London. Well, congratulations, sort of.
Thank you very much.
For not winning anything. 70% of people in these constituencies didn't vote. You're not the third force in British politics.
Well, I think we are, because this is a consistent effort. And don't forget, we've been doing this for 20 years now. It's been a very slow progress because we are up against the first past the post electoral system, which is very difficult to break through in. And of course, we've got 100 years of entrenched tribal voting, which we're trying to break down.
That's true, but I mean, you did very well. For instance, in 2009, the European elections came second. 2010. No Westminster seat. So give us a clue. Which Westminster seat are even with a sniff of winning?
Well, if we did that, we'd be giving away our strategy about how we're going to target next time. We have indeed. We are going to fight as many seats as we can. We're looking to do the whole of the 645, but we will also be targeting seats as well. We will decide which ones we're going to put the most effort into.
And how many will you win?
I can't make those kind of predictions. I don't honestly know. I've never underrated how difficult it is. But I think the reason we're doing so well is because we got a flavour of that from your interviews, is because we actually represent the centre of British public opinion. The old parties, Lib Lab Con, don't actually appeal to what the ordinary voter wants.
But they were talking pretty much about local issues, weren't they? They were talking about the kids that were causing a row. They were talking about what's going on in Rotherham Council. They were talking about a disgraced local MP. They weren't talking about the kind of things that are your policies.
But so many things that the governments ought to do, they cannot do now because they're prevented, because our laws are now actually made in the European Union. For example, controlling immigration. We can't control immigration because the EU sets those laws.
Is there any chance of you forming an electoral pact with the Conservative Party, or in fact even undermining them, given that actually even if everybody who voted UKIP around last time voted Conservative, it wouldn't have helped them a great deal?
Well, you see, this is also this myth that we only take Conservative votes. We've always taken Labour votes. And if you look at our figures going back 20 years to 1994, first elections that we took part in, we do as well in Labour seats as we do in Conservative seats.
Did you have a pact with the Tories, though, given the current leadership? I mean, you know what David Cameron said about you a few years ago: fruitcakes, loonies, closet racists. Not exactly a marriage made from heaven.
But we got endorsed by Mr. Miliband last week, who said we're a mainstream party.
I wouldn't say endorsement would be quite the right word, but I mean, could you actually work with the Conservatives?
Well, I don't understand what this pack is about, you see. Now, if the Tories want to have a referendum on the European Union, they can announce it. They don't need a pact with UKIP
that would
to
kill
do that.
you off, wouldn't it?
Well, that's up to them. That's up to them to decide that. They could announce the policy that they've decided to withdraw from the European Union. So I don't see what this pact is supposed to deliver for us or them. We fight because we know quite clear and simply what we believe in and what we want.
Right.
If they want to try to undermine us, then all they have to do is to say they're going to withdraw from the EU or offer a referendum. They don't need us to do that.
The problem is for both Westminster parties that both of them want to stay in the EU right now, whereas only about a third of the public do. There's no issue in British politics where there's a bigger gulf between the public opinion and the mainstream Westminster opinion.
A coming 8th will be traumatic, especially to MPs who are worried about keeping their seats at the next election.
That is the battleground. That is what most people talk about. And just saying get out of Europe would solve everything. It doesn't play.
Yes, but Gavin, more and more people are realising that you can't actually address these problems while you're inside the European Union. Look at the countries that are outside of the European Union. Norway, Switzerland, Canada, Australia. They've all got higher living standards. They're all doing more prosperously.
So is Germany.
But that's being held back by the European Union as well.
Well,
if we left the European Union,
perhaps
we would get our own destiny
back.
back. We could actually be a more prosperous country, a more free country. We could actually control the big issues that people really do care about. And I think our message is actually going home to people now, is that if you want to address those issues, there's no point in voting for the old parties. And of course, if I may say, I think the Lib Dems are now becoming irrelevant. They're no longer the party of protest because they're part of the establishment and they've abandoned their main policy.